divyam Jaya Gopi Vrindavan Girivardhan Jaya Gopi Vrindavan Girivardhan Yashodanandana Prajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajanarandana Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Nayara Madhava Kunjabiham Hari Gopi Janavallabham Girivardhan Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabham Girivardhan Hari Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiham Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiham Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabham Girivardhan Hari Jaya Gopi Jaya Gopi Janavallabham Girivardhan Hari Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Yamunatira Vanatam Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiham Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiham Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Radha Sham Sundar Radha Sham Sundar Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivara Jagacchaya Sota Sota Shishmachila Aisya Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivara Jagacchaya Sota Sota Shishmachila Bhakti Sinanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki Sri Rup Sri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Ji Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sar Goswami Prabhu ki प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवजरी गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपा गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री मथुरा धाम की श्री मायापुर धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की वृंद देवी तुलसी देवी की भक्ति देवी की गंगा यमुना देवी की हरे नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री श्री गौनिताय की श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरे सामवेद भक्त वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We are reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 8th chapter, Attaining the Supreme. Text number 10. Prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena caiva bhruvor madhye prāṇam āveśya samyak satam param puruṣam upaiti divyam prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena caiva bhruvor madhye praṇam āveśya samyak satam param puruṣam upaiti divyam
prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena caiva bhruvor madhye prāṇam āveśya samyak satam param puruṣam upaiti divyam prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena caiva bhruvor madhye prāṇam āveśya samyak param puruṣam upaiti divyam
prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena deva bhruvor madhye prāṇam āveśya samyak satam param puruṣam upaiti divyam
prayāṇa-kāle manasācalena bhaktyā yukto yoga-balena caiva bhruvor madhye prāṇam āveśya samyak satam param puruṣam upaiti divyam
Prayāṇa-kāle, at the time of death, manasā, by the mind, acalena, without its being deviated, bhaktyā, in full devotion, yuktaḥ, engaged, yoga-balena, by the power of mystic yoga. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Bhruvoḥ, the two eyebrows. Madhye, between. Prāṇam, the life air. Āveśya, establishing. Samyak, completely. Sa, he, tam, that, param, transcendental, puruṣam, personality of Godhead. upaiti achieves divyam in the spiritual kingdom. Translation of purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows and, by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In this verse it is clearly stated that at the time of death the mind must be fixed in devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those practiced in yoga, it is recommended that they raise the life force between the two eyebrows to the Ajna chakra. The practice of Sat Chakra Yoga involving meditation on the 6 chakras is suggested here. A pure devotee does not practice such yoga, but because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at that he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His grace. This is explained in verse 14. The particular use of the word yoga-balena is significant in this verse because with our practice of yoga, whether Sat Chakra Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, one cannot come to this transcendental state of being at the time of death. One cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at death. One must have practiced some yoga system, especially the system of Bhakti Yoga. Since one's mind at death is very disturbed, one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Ladita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Ganchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, this chapter is entitled Attaining the Supreme. So that is the goal of life, to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, to enter the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And specifically, the pastimes of Krishna in Braj. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, before every class, he was chanting Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kubijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. So that is the goal. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Radha Krishna there in the Kunjas in Braj, in a Kunja that is at night time. When everyone is sleeping, then Radha Krishna they meet and perform the pastimes. Or during the day also in Radha Kund. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. All the Brijabasis, they love Krishna. The gopis, like Radhani, Lalita Vishaka, the elderly gopis, Yashoda and her friends, Nanda Baba and his friends, Krishna's friends, Sudam, Sridham, everyone is loving Krishna. Is performing pastimes also on the bank of the Jamuna. And various pastimes are performed. So that is the goal, to enter the pastimes of Krishna. Also, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, to which we belong, so we take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is performing his pastimes in Chaitadip Navadip in the spittle realm. So it is possible to join his pastimes also, like most of our acharyas. They are in Gaur Lila and Krishna Lila. So that is the goal. Other persons are there, they want to go to Vaikuntha, they want to go to Ayodhya in the spiritual world. That is fine too. Some persons, they have some personal conception of the absolute truth. They are known as Mayavadi, Brahmavadi, Nirvisheshvadi. So they want to merge in the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. Brahmajyoti, the light of the absolute truth, that is actually Krishna's effulgence. But the devotees, they understand that actually that is not the actual liberation. That is a conditioned state. But the actual liberation is if one is engaged in the service of Krishna, or Ram, Sri Ram, or many Vishnu Murtis. So different processes are there. So the Mayavadis, they do cultivation of the knowledge, Gyan Yoga. Here is explained about yoga practice, yukto, yoga-balena. So usually referring to Astanga Yoga, or as mentioned here by Prabhupada, Sat Chakra Yoga. Different chakras are there in the body. And so they try to do this meditation by controlling the body, first of all, being regulated in eating, sleeping, eating and sleeping as little as possible. And then also cultivation of knowledge has to be there. And yoga then means to connect with the Supreme Lord, to be situated on the spiritual platform beyond this body, and connecting with the Supreme. So they meditate on the Super Soul, which is the Lord in the heart, Vishnu. But we should understand that our relationship is not with the Paramatma, because Paramatma is only manifest in the material world. Now when the material world is manifested and Paramatma is manifested, who is an expansion of Mahashankarshan, Vishnu in the spiritual realm. So different forms of Vishnu there with different names. And some of the persons who are performing yoga, they want to merge in the form of Vishnu, so that is known as Ishvar, Sayujya. But that is almost like the Mayavadis. And that will not give the ultimate desired result. So, but here, so in this verse also bhakti, so devotion has to be there. And towards this practice, and one has to be free from attachment to this material world. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport also very clearly that a pure devotee does not practice such yoga, like this Sat Sat means 6, chakra yoga. Neither does he perform Ashtanga yoga, but he performs devotional service. He's engaged in Krishna consciousness, in bhakti yoga. So he's referring to text number 14. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyam sulabham patta nitya yuktasya yoginaha. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So that is the easiest process, and actually that is the only process to attain perfection, is by bhakti yoga. By engaging in devotional practices and directed towards the personal form of the Lord. It may be towards Vishnu or Ram, but then the highest realm, that is Krishna Loka, where Krishna is residing, either in Dwarka, Mathura or in Braj. And so Prabhupada is hinting at that we want to attain Krishna in Braj. So therefore he chanted Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. And in the purport to the verse 14, is explaining that the relationships are there with Krishna in Braj as Shanta Bhakta, a neutral relationship, like even, for example, the trees and the cows and the birds. So that considered from one point of view in Shantaras. Because although they are situated in their situation, in loving relationship with Krishna, and they have feelings towards Krishna, love towards Krishna, but they're in such a form that they are not fully, physically able to show their emotions towards Krishna, like the trees. So they have emotions towards Krishna, they have love towards Krishna, but for example, they themselves, they cannot embrace Krishna. With the body of a tree, and also the cows and the calves. The cows actually, they have some, so this emotion, they have their calves also, and they're licking the calves, and they may also lick Krishna's bhakti sometimes, but they cannot embrace Krishna because they're in the form of a cow. So that is in Shantarasa, feelings are there, and actually they have, to some extent, the Vatsalya rasa is there, parental affection towards Krishna, but they cannot fully manifest. So therefore it is explained as Shantaras, and therefore sometimes it is explained there, in Braj 4 rasas are there, starting with Dasya, because everyone wants to serve Krishna and everyone is serving Krishna. So even if it is by the emotion, so the cows, they want to give their milk to Krishna, and they want to lick Krishna's bhakti, and they want to be embraced by Krishna. So that, and so in this way, actually they want to give pleasure to Krishna. And Krishna loves the cows, and he likes to caress the cows, he likes to embrace the cows, and then they are relishing. But more, of course, exalted are those who are directly serving Krishna, like those who are washing Krishna's clothes, the dhobi, those who are cleaning the room of Krishna, and then there's a loving exchange. Or those who are giving tambul, the palm leaves with a betel nut and some spices are there. Krishna is very fond of that. So in this way they are serving Krishna. And even more exalted are those who are in Sakya Bhav. So Prabhupada has mentioned here this Bhakta, Sakya Bhakta. Oh, Krishna is my friend. Although Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but Krishna is so kind and so humble, merciful, that in Braj, he's wants to forget that is the Supreme Lord, and by his internal potency, by Yoga Maya, so the associates, they do not know that Krishna is God, but they think Krishna is my beloved, Krishna is my friend. And that is the highest mode. So and then Vatsalya Bhav, Maria Yashoda and so on, the elderly gopis, they think Krishna is my son. Although Krishna is the source of everything. He is the source of all spiritual material worlds. He is the source of all Vishnu murtis. So he is the source of his associates also. But in the past time, he is known as the son of Mother Yashoda. Yashoda Nandan Bhagavan ki. And then Madhurya Bhakta. So these are the most exalted. They have a conjugal relationship with Krishna. The gopis were of Krishna's age. A little younger than Krishna, 1 year younger. Krishna is Kishore, around 15 years old. And Radharani and the gopis Kishori, 13 and a half, 14 years old. And even some of them a little younger, 13 years old, or 12 and a half. The Manjaris, who are also Sakhis. And so they have this conjugal feeling towards Krishna, and Krishna is reciprocating. So that is a pure devotee. Prabhupada is in writing. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. Similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. So, and then Prabhupada is writing, this is the great blessing of the Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So by chanting the holy names, we are connected with Krishna, with Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, that means Radha Krishna. Hare Ram means Radhe Shyam. So for those who are in the Madhurya Bhav, for those who are in Sakhya Bhav, the friends, or in Vatsalya Bhav, when they chant Mahamantra, Hare refers to Krishna, Hari. And then by calling out, it becomes Hare. So Hari, who is attracting everyone, who is Hari, he is stealing the mind of his devotees, who is taking away the anatas, the unwanted things from the heart. And Krishna is Krishna, the all-attractive Supreme Lord, the source of all pleasure. And Ram is there, Balaram. That is those in Sakhya Bhav, in friendship, when they chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, they remember Krishna Balaram. And also those in Vatsalya Bhav. But those in Madhurya Bhav, when they chant Hare Krishna and Hare Ram, they remember Radhe Shyam. So Ram also refers to Krishna, who is performing pastimes in Braj with his gopis. Radhika Raman. So that is the highest understanding. And so the devotees, so they are chanting the Maha Mantra. And that is the quickest process by which we can advance in spiritual life. And in the age of Kali, actually it is practically the only process by which we can attain perfection. So by chanting the holy names. Prabhupada in the second purport, the second paragraph is saying, yoga-balena is significant in this verse, because without practice of yoga, one cannot come to this transcendental state, to the transcendental platform, at the time of death. So that is significant also, the time of death. Of course, we all hope that we are living up to 100 years. I wish you all the best, Ayushram Bhavatu, that you may live a long life. And one should try to live up to 100 years, which is not always easy, but at least as long as possible we should try to live. And so we are preparing ultimately. So, of course, we engage in devotional service for Krishna's pleasure, and we are not so much concerned about even our well-being sometimes. We do whatever Krishna wants, and then wherever Krishna puts us, that is fine. Even it is mentioned, devotee is ready to go to hell if the Lord wants to do some preaching there. And so even Mahaprabhu said, Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam vajagadishakamaye mama janmani janmanishwari bhavatad bhakti rahaitu gitai. I do not desire anything of this world. Dhanam, wealth, or janam, followers, sundarim, beautiful wife. But simply I want to be engaged in devotional service, birth after birth. Even if I have to take birth, no problem. I continue serving Krishna. So, at the same time, Prabhupada also said that we should try to go back home to Godhead after giving up this body. And so we try our best to make advancement as much as possible. And then we don't have to worry about that. Because ultimately, anyhow, if we are situated on a transcendental plane, and we realize we are not this body, we are spirit soul, then there is no birth and no death. So that is the transcendental state. So, and then, as just a few verses before it is explained, whatever one remembers at the time of death, that will determine his future. So if one is thinking of Krishna, then one can go to Krishna. And it is mentioned, if one is a man and is thinking about his wife, then he may get the body of a woman in next lifetime, or vice versa. So, and if one is sinful, then one will be degraded. If one is eating like a dog, then he becomes a dog. If one is acting like a monkey, then one becomes a monkey. Even here in Vrindavan, Prabhupada said, the monkeys, many of them, they are fallen persons who have engaged in illicit activities in Braj. So therefore we have to try to see that we are properly engaged in devotional service, and that is practically almost constantly one has to be engaged, or practically always one has to be engaged in serving Krishna with the body, with all the senses, by speaking about Krishna also, and hearing about Krishna. Then also with the mind one has to try to think about Krishna all the time, which is not easy, but one has to practice. And by practice one may become perfect. So therefore Prabhupada is saying, one cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at that. One must have practiced yoga system, especially bhakti yoga. It's not that, okay, I do a little bit something, at the time of that I will try to remember Krishna. No. You have to practice throughout the life, and then it may be possible. And so during the life we have many difficulties to overcome, but that is a kind of practice for a devotee. So you can practice amidst many difficulties to remember Krishna, and then at the time of death, which is also a difficult time, then one can remember Krishna. So constant practice has to be there, and then one may attain perfection. Otherwise it is not possible. So it has to be ultimately devotional service, bhakti yoga. And one must know the goal. What is the goal? Just like if we're thinking, okay, I want to have some vacation, let me go somewhere. So then we're thinking where to go. Okay, shall I go to Mayapur or shall I go to Puri for vacation? Maybe I go to Dwarka. So we're thinking, and then we, according to that, okay, now let me go to Jagannath Puri. So then the goal is set. I'm going to Jagannath Puri vacation. And then you're endeavoring to go there by buying a train ticket or plane ticket, and you book a room in some place in Jagannath operations, have to be made. And then your goal is fixed. I will go there, and then after the time is there, so, and then you go with a taxi to the airport or to the train station, and then you reach Bhubaneswar, and then you have to take a taxi from there, and then you can reach Jagannath Puri. So if you go to Mayapur, then you have to do accordingly also. So similarly, we should know what is the goal. So by Prabhupada's mercy, we know what is the goal, right? What is the goal, Prabhuji? Back to Godhead, where? Vaikuntha, you want to go Vaikuntha? Okay. Golok Vrindavan. Okay, fine, yes. We want to go to Golok Vrindavan. Or Shvedadip Navadvip. Wants to go to Golok? Wants to go to Golok? Wants to go to Shvetadip Navadvip? Yeah, also, right? We want to go both places. Wants to go to Vaikuntha? Okay. Wants to go to Ayodhya? No, okay, we want to go to Golok mostly, yeah. And so therefore we have to serve Krishna in Golok. And then we have to try to remember Krishna in Golok. So how to serve Krishna, we have to learn. Therefore Prabhupada he has established our beautiful temple. Krishna Bharam, Radha Krishna, Gonitai, and offerings are made to the Lord what Krishna likes. So what Krishna likes? Fruits. Right? We offer Krishna food, fruits, patram, puruṣam, param, divyam. Which is Krishna's favorite fruit? Mango? He likes mango, but he has a special chiku. He likes chiku very much. So we see chiku, then when I go to buy fruits, whenever I see chiku, I buy chiku because Krishna likes. And what Mahaprabhu likes? Banana. So we see banana, we buy banana. Here, banana for Mahaprabhu. And what else Krishna likes? Sweets. Nice. So Krishna likes laddu. Therefore you see Laddu Gopal is there. Makkan Misri, and so on. So we should know what Krishna likes, and then we offer that. So, and Mahaprabhu he likes vegetables, spinach or cuttle. So different vegetables are there. Rice, dal. So that we offer. And then there's a reciprocation. Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So seeing, oh, this devotee is serving me so nicely. And then he will deliver us from the cycle of birth and death. So it is very practical. So Prabhupada, he has, and the previous acharyas, so they have established a process by which we can attain perfection. So for that, very important is to be in the association with the devotees, especially the advanced devotees, sadhu sangha, and then hearing on a daily basis, as Prabhupada established, morning Bhagavatam, evening Gita. And then he was also, after the Chaitanya Charitamrita was published, and he told his devotees, you should read my books. And by reading, hearing about Krishna, then we can remember him. If you don't read about Krishna, hear about Krishna, how you can remember him? So that is required. And so then you worship the deities. And then by doing that, and the most important activity is chanting the holy names. The mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we chant the mantra, and so if you have served the deities nicely, if you have heard about Krishna, then we can remember Krishna while we are chanting, and that is ultimately required. And that is actually natural, that we remember Krishna. If you have love, then we can remember. So just like we can see in the material world, there's some love also, love is there. And just like, for example, the parents, they love the children. And so then the children are going here and there, and the mother is always thinking about the child. Where's my child? And if the child, mother is sending the child to the school, and then usually go by bus nowadays, and then she's waiting for the child. When is my child coming back? So natural, and then the child comes back and eating something, going out to play, and the mother is thinking about the child. So that is love. So the devotee who has love, he is naturally thinking about Krishna and how to serve Krishna, what Krishna likes, and how to serve Krishna like the eternal associates of Krishna and Braj. So that is there. And simply to sit down is a little bit difficult because the mind is very flickering. We may remember Krishna to some extent, but not easy. Even sometimes we hear about Krishna during the class. The class is over, we forget most of it. But something will be there. But then by chanting the holy names, the Mahamantra, then because the Mahamantra is no different from Krishna, then one, by Krishna's mercy, will be able to remember something also. If you're sincerely chanting, and we have seen the deities, then we can see Krishna, the deity form first, and then we hear about Krishna, his beautiful form, and his pastimes, and then when we chant, we can remember. And so if we cannot remember, then we should call out to Krishna so that he may appear. So Prabhupada is mentioning, so devotee is always remembering Krishna. But if Krishna is not visible to him, because Krishna is, to increase the love, sometimes he disappears from the vision of his pure devotee also, and then they're crying out in separation. And then Krishna will appear. So that is the highest form of yoga, that is bhakti yoga. And so that is given by the representative of Krishna, the spiritual master, the pure devotee. Is giving the process. By following the process, and slowly but surely we can remember Krishna more and more. So it is a practice. So we have to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So we have to be Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious, we have to be conscious of the person Krishna. When we say Krishna, the Krishna's form should be there. And so beautiful form. And then also his associates will be there. So that is a process to follow. And so today is auspicious day Titi, Ekadashi Titi. That is giving us an opportunity to chant more. Prabhupada recommended, the Acharyas recommended that we chant more on this day. We hear more about Krishna, we serve more, and we don't engage in any activities which are detrimental, and even we don't engage so much in ordinary activities. Like we have to buy clothes, and we have to buy some things for the house maybe, or even for the ashram. But usually we don't do that on Ekadashi. Because if you do that, then you're dealing with maybe some persons who are not so inclined towards spiritual activities. Of course in Vrindavan almost everyone is inclined, but still. Then, you see the dhoti or the sari, and then okay, how much is it? 3,000. What, 3,000 is too much? Should give cheaper, no? And try to bargain or something like this. So then you may not be able to remember Krishna so much. But if we sit down in a place and try to chant more the Mahamantra and remember what you have heard about Krishna, and we remember the deity, so then we can be a little bit more absorbed than usual. And so therefore we follow Ekadashi Titi. We chant and hear more, and then we eat and sleep less, and then so we have more time. So therefore we chant more today. And we may do parikrama, chanting the holy names and seeing the different temples, different deities. So that day is for that purpose. So the acharyas have explained. So by following the process, then we may attain perfection. And so even in this life, if the good impressions are there from previous life, and the environment is conducive, and we have good association, and we seriously and sincerely endeavor, then we may attain perfection. then we may enter the pastimes of Krishna. Nitya Lila Pravesh, so that is the goal. So we try our best. For that we have to chant nicely, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any question? Yes.
Prabhuji, you mentioned Mayavadis and Brahmavadis. Are they same? What is the difference?
There's a little difference is there. So actually different impersonalists are there. So Brahmavadis, so usually they were followers of Buddha, and so they have the conception of merging in the Brahmajyoti, and so they practice non-violence, and and basically they were following Lord Buddha, which is all right because he's an incarnation of the Lord. The Mayavadis are usually those who follow the Vedic literatures, but they don't accept the personal form of the Absolute Truth. So they're bewildered actually by the external potency, and therefore we call them Mayavadis. And they also try to merge in the impersonal Brahman, usually. And so ultimately there may be not so much difference in attaining the goal, but the process may be a little bit different because those followers of Buddha are not following the Vedic literatures, whereas the Mayavadis are following the Vedic literatures, but not in a proper way. So, but both of them, ultimately they don't have the full understanding, and therefore they may, but that is also rare to attain the goal of merging into the Brahmajyoti. It's not easy. Only those who are very strict in their practice of cultivation of spiritual knowledge and yoga and meditation on nothing, which is also not easy actually, not to think of anything. But some they may attain success, so-called success, which is only actually a temporary situation, merging in the Brahmajyoti, because one is not serving Krishna, but by nature we are servants of Krishna, and eventually they will fall back to this material world. But it may be after millions and trillions of years, so that is ultimately of no use. Some of them, that is known as mentioned, there is Brahma Suyujya and there is Ishvara Suyujya, merging in the Brahmajyoti and merging in the form of the Lord, which is also practically ultimately of no use, because again we are supposed to serve Krishna. So those who are trying to merge into the Paramatma, Ishvara Suyujya, then they will merge into Mahavishnu, or into ultimately Vishnu, Mahavishnu and Mahasankarshan, and so then they will also not be properly situated, and they will have to come back to this material world, because ultimately we are meant to serve Krishna or Vishnu. So there's a little differences there, but ultimately, so that is not the proper understanding they're having, either one, but it is just some slight different process to attain the Supreme. So, but the only way to actually get perfection, that is by bhakti yoga, and it may be direct towards Krishna or towards Ram or towards Vishnu. So according to the natural inclination of the soul. So mostly in our society, so by the Lord's arrangement, so we are attracted towards Krishna in Golok, so we may go there. But some may be attracted to Ram, and they may go to Ram. Some may be attracted to Vishnu, they may go to Vishnu. And that is already fixed. It's not that we can choose. It is, our nature is already fixed. But by engaging the process, then our nature will be revealed. And then by practicing, we may attain perfection. Okay? Yes?
Like the mind while chanting, it's not fixed. Like chanting, we can't even remember, and we can't even listen to the sound, the vibration.
The mind is not fixed. We cannot remember Krishna. We cannot even hear the sound.
Also
Yeah.
many times. And as you said rightly, when we hear the class, after the class, we may recollect or we may just do it. So it seems to be like a very difficult task of remembering Krishna at the time of death. So how can one improve so that they can at least achieve the goal of remembering Krishna at the time of death?
Yes, good question. Yeah, difficult to control the mind and to fix the mind on Krishna. And then especially at the time of death, and how to achieve that. So that is by constant practice. So during this life you have to constantly practice to remember Krishna throughout the day. But yes, it is not an easy task. If you try to think now, so today, since I got up, how long I remembered Krishna. Krishna's beautiful form, Shyam Sundar. It may be in the temple, Shyam Sundar, you have taken darshan in the temple? Yes, you have taken, who has taken darshan today in the temple?
Yes.
Okay. What was the color of the outfit?
Pink.
Pink, yeah. Right, yes. It was Ekadashi, we use usually pink and white and silver. So beautiful form. But now this Shyama Sundar in our temple, now try to recollect and how many, minutes did you remember Krishna, Shyama Sundar? How many minutes? How many seconds?
When I came to Mangala, just I was looking at Radha Shankar, maybe a few seconds.
Oh yeah.
Not.
So we are not so much Krishna conscious, right? So we have to cry out so we can remember more. Like the gopis, they were so intense, they were practically always remember Krishna. When not, then they were crying out. So therefore, so we try and we pray, and therefore we come together, and then we hear about Krishna. The speaker is speaking something about Krishna, Krishna's beautiful form. Shyam Sundar, Ganesham wearing yellow dhoti, playing the flute, having peacock feather, surrounded by the gopis at noontime and night time, going out with the friends after breakfast to the pasturing grounds, and the cows and the calves. But then in the middle he's telling them, I'm coming in a little while. And then he's there with the gopis at Radhakund for a few hours. And they're just engaged in playing, and then he's coming back to the gopas, going back to Nandagaon. So like this, by hearing, then we can remember something more. And that will give impression. So therefore we have to hear every day about Krishna as much as possible. And then we can remember something while hearing. And then while chanting, you try to remember what you heard, or you try to remember Krishna's form. In the temple, or as you have heard the description, Shyam Sundar, like the cloud, Mega Shyam. So we have to practice, and then you see where you are, and then you should be crying. Let me remember Krishna a little more tomorrow than today. And tomorrow again you try, and then let me remember tomorrow again more. So that you have to do. So, and doing this year after year, then you become a little more Krishna conscious. But it takes time to become fully Krishna conscious. But then Krishna is very merciful also. He is helping you also. And so, and Prabhupada mentioned one time, you may be, and one time somebody was asking how much Krishna conscious you have to be. And Prabhupada said 100%. And the devotees, hoi, 100% means I should always remember Krishna. And then he saw the devotees' faces going down. Okay, 90%. Okay, 90%. Means I'm awake 18 hours, so I should remember 17 hours Krishna. And we can't even remember a few minutes. 70%, 60%. Okay, 60%. So, but that even is difficult. But we try. And then Krishna does the rest. We try our best and Krishna does the rest. So, try to be 50% Krishna conscious which is also not easy, but anyhow we try our best and Krishna will help. And anyhow we continuously servant and we hope for special mercy that we may remember Krishna. Sometimes Krishna gives special mercy. And if we don't make it this lifetime, next lifetime we have another chance. And then it will be easier. So it is always becoming easier. So don't worry. Okay? Hare Krishna. We stop here.